Hey there, ever stop to think about how we view ancient civilizations? It's easy to picture them as people with primitive minds, fumbling through life without modern technology. But what if I told you they weren't just clever, but might even have cracked the code on technologies we're only beginning to understand? Imagine that. Thousands of years before Google and NASA, there were people crafting marvels that, somehow, science still can't fully explain. Today, we're diving into mysteries so ancient, yet so advanced, they could reshape the way you think about history, about humanity. We're talking about things like a 2,000-year-old computer that mapped the skies, swords with microtechnology, rust-proof iron, and stones that defy physics. Prepare to get intrigued, maybe even a little spooked, because some of these stories suggest that humanity once wielded knowledge we've all but lost. Ready to see the world through a new lens? Let's begin with one of the greatest mysteries of all, the incredible mechanism of Antikythera. Imagine you're a diver off the coast of Greece in 1901, sifting through a sunken Roman shipwreck. You're hoping for coins or statues, something valuable. But then you find something unexpected, something that doesn't belong. It's a clump of corroded bronze gears and pieces, fused by centuries underwater. But there's something strange about it. What kind of object, especially in 100 BC, would have so many intricate parts, some as fine as a wristwatch? You don't know it yet, but you've just uncovered what's been called the world's first computer. This is the Antikythera Mechanism, an ancient Greek device so advanced that scientists are still piecing together its secrets over a century later. The mechanism is full of gears and dials that once spun smoothly, all within a casing no larger than a modern laptop. But this wasn't just some curiosity. It's believed to have mapped the movements of the sun, moon, and planets with alarming accuracy. Some even say it could predict eclipses and track the cycles of the Olympic Games. And here's the thing. Similar devices don't reappear in history for over 1,000 years. Who could have created something this complex? And more importantly, why was this knowledge lost? So, let's delve into what we know, or think we know, about the Antikythera mechanism. Picture a bronze box with over 30 gears, each handcrafted, some no bigger than a fingernail. Some gears are even set at precise angles to account for the moon's elliptical orbit. Modern X-ray analysis has revealed that these gears could have displayed the position of celestial bodies, even down to the phases of the moon. But how? How could people without telescopes and advanced mathematics achieve such precision? Let's take a moment here. You've probably heard of the Greeks as philosophers and thinkers, but engineers to this level? It would be like someone in the 1700s building a quantum computer. Ancient texts by thinkers like Cicero mention similar devices, but historians long assumed they were myth or exaggeration. And yet, the Antikythera mechanism proves they were real. Some researchers even believe that it could be based on lost Egyptian or Babylonian knowledge. Maybe it's a glimpse into a whole body of scientific understanding that vanished with the fall of the ancient world. And here's where it gets mysterious. Imagine the sheer skill needed to assemble and calibrate those gears by hand, without machines or precise instruments. It raises the question, were the Greeks alone in this discovery, or was this device influenced by an even older culture? One that understood the skies and seasons on a level we don't yet grasp. Now, here's where things get even stranger. Some scholars argue that this device might not just predict the positions of the planets, but also events like solar and lunar eclipses, phenomena that ancient civilizations often considered as omens or divine messages. They believe that the cosmos influenced everything from wars to harvests, so maybe the Antikythera mechanism was more than just a calendar or a tool. It was a bridge between humanity and the heavens. And then there's the mystery of how it was made. Some studies have suggested that each piece of the mechanism would have had to be crafted by a master artisan, someone with skills we can only barely replicate today with precision machinery. But if these skills existed back then, why don't we see more examples of such technology? Could there have been a guild of elite scientists and engineers whose knowledge was guarded, maybe even forbidden from passing to the outside world? Consider this. After the fall of ancient Greece, the world entered the Dark Ages. Knowledge was lost, libraries burned, and philosophies that once drove civilization were forgotten. Is it possible that the Antikythera mechanism was just one artifact from a more advanced culture? Perhaps the destruction of knowledge wasn't accidental but deliberate, a way to keep the past secrets from ever resurfacing. Let's shift now to the highlands of Peru, to a place where stones don't just fit together. They defy logic in their precision. If you were to visit Sacsayhuamán, you'd see walls of massive stones cut with such precision that you can't slip a sheet of paper between them. The stones are cut to fit without mortar, each one weighing multiple tons. And here's the catch, they're arranged in a way that makes the wall practically earthquake-proof. But how did the Incas achieve this? Some historians argue that they had only basic tools, like stone hammers. Yet here we see these stones locked together with angles that would challenge even modern construction. Some pieces are as large as a truck, and they're not just flat or straight. They curve and angle in ways that suggest an understanding of architecture well beyond their time. There's a theory, somewhat controversial but compelling, that the Incas may have softened the stone, allowing it to fit together like clay. Legends among the local people even talk about a plant sap that could make stone malleable. Could it be that the Incas used forgotten techniques, possibly even natural chemistry, to soften or reshape rocks? And if so, what else might we have forgotten about ancient material science? Or perhaps even more intriguing, this stonework was inherited from a civilization predating the Incas, one with advanced construction knowledge that simply disappeared. Our journey now takes us to the deserts of Peru, where the famous Nazca Lines have mystified researchers and intrigued explorers for decades. Picture this: vast stretches of barren desert covered in intricate, massive lines that form animals, geometric shapes, and symbols visible only from high in the sky. These shapes span miles across, with some of the figures reaching hundreds of meters in length. And yet they are so precisely drawn, so symmetrical, that it's hard to believe they were made without aerial view assistance. But here's the catch. These lines were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE, a time when flying was, supposedly, an unimaginable feat. How did the Nazca civilization achieve such monumental precision? These massive geoglyphs range from stylized animals like monkeys, birds, and fish, to perfectly straight lines that cut through the landscape for miles. And the technique? They achieved these designs by removing the reddish-brown stones on the desert's surface, revealing the lighter-colored earth beneath, which remains untouched by wind and weather even today. Some theorists suggest that the Nazca people may have used simple techniques with stakes and rope, creating grids to ensure accuracy. But when you consider that the figures can only truly be appreciated from the air, it raises the question: were they made to be seen by the gods, or perhaps by something else in the sky? And why did the Nazca put so much effort into designs that only seem to make sense from such a high perspective? In recent years, drone footage has unveiled even more lines and shapes hidden under layers of soil, some smaller and more intricate than the original figures. And what's fascinating is that these new lines add even more mystery to the purpose of the Nazca site. Some archaeologists propose that the lines could have been used for astronomical purposes, aligned with the sun and stars for rituals that marked the changing seasons. The spider, for instance, is thought to align with the constellation Orion, which suggests a cosmic or even astrological significance. Then there's the theory proposed by researcher Paul Kosak, who believed the lines served as a massive agricultural calendar. Peru is an arid land, and for the Nazca, understanding rainfall patterns would have been essential for survival. Could it be that the lines were pathways for rituals to call forth rain from the heavens, their designs reaching upward in supplication? But perhaps the most daring theory comes from Eric von Daniken, who suggests that these lines were landing strips for ancient astronauts. He postulates that the large, straight lines could be evidence of extraterrestrial visitations, offering a place to land or providing messages to those who arrived from above. It's a theory that divides scientists, but one that captures the imagination of many. To this day, no single explanation has been universally accepted. The mystery of the Nazca Lines endures, preserved in the silent sands. Could they be a cosmic call to unknown forces, a communication with the heavens, or an artistic feat whose meaning is lost to time? The more we uncover about the Nazca Lines, the more questions emerge. If you had to take a guess, what do you think their purpose was? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move now to Turkey, to the rocky cliffs of Myra, where a different kind of ancient marvel awaits. Here, etched into sheer rock faces, are tombs belonging to the ancient Lycians, a people known for their mysterious language and independent spirit. The tombs are built to resemble homes, complete with doorways and windows, as if inviting their dead to dwell in eternal comfort. This is an ancient necropolis like no other, with tombs that seem almost carved by the very mountains themselves. Imagine the skill, the precision, and the belief that must have driven people to sculpt their resting places out of raw stone cliffs. These rock-cut tombs, dating back to around the 4th century BCE, are among the most iconic in the world, and they hold clues to a culture that had a unique perspective on life and death. The Lycians believed that their ancestors' spirits could fly, and so they placed their dead high up in the cliffs, giving them a path to the heavens. But the real mystery is in the construction. How did they achieve such heights and such intricate details with only rudimentary tools? And why were they so determined to place their dead in places that were so difficult to reach? Many believe that the Lycians had an advanced understanding of stonework, and possibly even used early forms of scaffolding or pulley systems to elevate heavy stones to these heights. Some tombs have reliefs showing mythical creatures, soldiers, and family gatherings, frozen in time on rock walls. But what's especially intriguing is that many of these tombs mimic the appearance of Lycian homes, complete with wooden beams and stonework designs, showing just how closely tied life and death were in their culture. They believed that even in the afterlife, the dead should have a place that felt like home. Then there's the question of the inscriptions. The Lycian language was lost for centuries, only partially decoded in the modern era, and it hints at influences from both Greek and Luwian languages. Some archaeologists suggest that the tombs of Myra were not just resting places, but also markers of status and territory, where the highborn could watch over their lands even in death. But what about the symbols? Why do some tombs bear carvings of ships, others of chariots, and some with winged creatures? Scholars theorize that these represent the journey to the afterlife, an odyssey across both land and sea, perhaps to mirror the Lycian view of the soul's final voyage. In recent documentaries, historians have delved into these tombs with laser mapping, revealing inscriptions and carvings that were previously hidden by centuries of erosion. These discoveries give us fresh insights into the Lycian spiritual beliefs and hint at a complex afterlife doctrine that merges aspects of earth and sky, nature, and the supernatural. As mysterious as they are beautiful, the Lycian tombs of Myra remind us of how cultures long ago grappled with questions of life, death, and eternity. And it makes you wonder, what other tombs, hidden away in cliffs and mountainsides across the world, could still hold secrets of forgotten civilizations? The rock-cut tombs of Myra might be silent, but they tell a story, an ancient tale of respect for the dead and the unbreakable bond between the earthly and the divine. So what do you think these tombs say about the Lycian people? About how they viewed their place in the world and beyond? Perhaps we'll never fully understand, but that's the beauty of history's mysteries. It leaves us with more questions than answers. Now, let's travel to ancient Mesopotamia, where a curious clay jar with a copper tube and iron rod was discovered near Baghdad in the 1930s. Scholars call it the Baghdad Battery, and it dates back to around 200 BC. When reconstructed with a mild acid such as vinegar, the jar produces a weak electric charge, around 1 or 2 volts. But here's the twist. Electricity wasn't supposed to exist until the 19th century. What could these ancient people have used electricity for? Some theories suggest it might have been used for electroplating, a technique to coat objects with precious metals. Imagine if the people of ancient Baghdad had found a way to create a faint electric current to refine gold or silver. It's remarkable to think that over 2,000 years ago, someone might have harnessed electricity in a way that even today would require a complex setup. And then there's the possibility that this knowledge wasn't unique to Baghdad, but was part of a network of ancient civilizations with a hidden understanding of chemistry. After all, how could such technology exist in one place, seemingly out of nowhere? What other hidden advances might have been buried, their secrets still waiting to be uncovered? For our next mystery, we travel to India, where an iron pillar stands outside a Hindu temple in Delhi. This pillar, dating back over 1,600 years, remains practically rust-free despite the humid climate. Standing 7 meters tall, it's made of 98% pure iron. Modern scientists have suggested that a layer of misit, a protective compound of iron, oxygen, and hydrogen, may have formed on the pillar's surface, preventing rust. But here's the question. How did ancient ironworkers understand the metallurgy to create something so resistant to corrosion? And why don't we see similar techniques in other ancient cultures? Some theorists argue that the ancient Indian metallurgists had access to a recipe lost over time. Others speculate that this knowledge could have had ceremonial or even spiritual significance, an understanding of materials that went beyond mere engineering and was intertwined with their beliefs. These ancient technologies leave us with one haunting thought. Have we truly advanced, or have we simply taken a different path? The Antikythera Mechanism, Sacsayhuamán, the Baghdad Battery, and the Iron Pillar of Delhi, all these relics suggest a past where humanity wielded knowledge now lost to us. So, what do you think? Are these remnants of forgotten wisdom? Or could they be clues from a time when humanity reached heights we can barely imagine? Leave your theories in the comments below. And remember, the next great mystery might be waiting just around the corner, buried in the sands of history, just waiting to be discovered.